everybody, welcome back to our cyber safety conversations in partnership now with T-Mobile, formerly Sprint. We are doing these virtually thanks to COVID this month. So thank you for joining us and for being accommodating in our backgrounds. Today we're going to talk about the internet and the impact that it can have on your life long term. We're seeing a lot in our media right now about how people are losing their jobs or losing sponsorships or losing scholarships because of things that they've said on social media in their past. This is not a new idea, but it is definitely heightened right now. So we think that this is a really important topic to discuss. When you post something on social media, it is forever. We've talked about the permanency of the internet in previous videos. You can go check them out on the channel here. But because the internet is so permanent, things that you've said can pop up at any time. The internet is permanent and it is not private. Those are two big things that we push. So we're going to look at a series of examples of this, where this has happened to students. So I'm Sydney Zeiker. I'm the Safe Community Program Manager here, and this is my co-host today, Caitlin. Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Fry, and I'm an education specialist with the Safe School Institute.
All right, so Caitlin's going to start us off with our first main story. And all of these are so compelling. So go ahead, Kate.
Absolutely. And so, it's funny, kind of like tying in what you said, there's quite a few of my friends on Facebook who constantly will go back and forth and say, is social media something that people should really be looking at when it comes to jobs or scholarships and using it against them? Thinking about that kind of goes with this first little example I'm going to talk about. So it was a football player. He was in high school, and he had his own little YouTube series where he would tell funny experiences and stuff like that. And one of his experiences was about him trespassing, and it went viral. I guess just the story was funny, and guess who found out? His coach of the college he was going to go play for. By the next day around dinner time, he got a call from his coach and said, "We are sorry, but we are revoking your football scholarship." And he now talks in blogs, and he goes around and talks to student athletes, and it's not just athletes either, but he just goes around and makes aware that social media, you posting a video of an experience, can have a negative effect on the scholarship you're getting or the school you're going to, because it's all about how you are representing that college or that high school or that job. So just that's one of them, but we're about to tell you some more too that are really compelling as well.
So through our Safe Schools presentations, we often tell students, hey, you are a representation of this campus, just like Caitlin just said. And therefore, in most student codes of conduct, there is a statement or a clause that says you must represent your school well. And that gives the school an opportunity to kind of step in if you posted something that you shouldn't have, or makes the school look bad, or makes them look bad because it sheds a bad light on you and your life, or them in their campus. So with that said, let's talk about a student who's actually a survivor of the Parkland shooting, who applied to Harvard, got in, and then after he received his acceptance letter, Harvard was sent a screenshot of a group text that he had taken part in as a 15-year-old, very young, and he made some really inappropriate comments that were very hurtful and were not okay. But again, this was not even on a public forum. So I think a lot of times we think, don't post something that you're not supposed to, but we kind of forget about what we're saying in everyday chats with our friends, our family, that kind of thing. What we must remember is that anyone can take a screenshot of what you say. So once you press send on that message, you don't have control of who sees it and who doesn't. So what happened to this particular student is that group chat got sent to Harvard. Imagine this. You get into Harvard, accomplishment of a lifetime. And then they get this group chat of you from when you were 15 years old. And they told him that his acceptance was under review. The student made a big public apology. You can actually go watch it on Twitter or YouTube. And he addressed all that he said. And he said, look, I was wrong. I was very wrong. But if anyone has gone through a major life event that has changed you inherently forever, it would be me. Going through a school shooting changes you, changes your life perspective. And he said, I am so deeply sorry, and I'm so different now, and I would never say that now, and I really apologize, and I hope you accept my apology. Harvard came back and they said, yeah, we do accept your apology, but you may no longer come to our campus. That is not a good representation of our school. And they revoked his scholarship, or not his scholarship, his acceptance. Heartbreaking, from a group chat he had at 15. So interesting.
Yeah, and kind of goes along with my first one. It's just looking back on how is that going to impact you the rest of your life. When things like that go public, you have to think about, okay, well, what school can I go to now? You're kind of, and I hate saying it like this, you're kind of putting a label on yourself. And it will be harder to get into the school you want to, or, play another sport or get another type of scholarship. And while I was doing some research, I was actually intrigued, because a lot of these colleges now, if they haven't already, are hiring specific teams of people just to look at social media and any form of like a public stage, and what these kids are putting out there, what their friends are putting on their stuff as well. And so these colleges are catching things a lot more. And it's sad that it's impacting these kids like this, but as we tell the kids that we talk to, you have to start paying attention to what your friends are putting on there, what you are putting on there, and how it can affect your future opportunities.
I know someone who that is their job.
Oh, that is so cool.
I know, that's their job. Anyway, so it's really important to remember that while we're saying all this stuff, we're expecting something of students that was never expected of us. What we said and what we did growing up is gone. It's gone forever. No other generation of people has ever had to think through every single word and action that they engage in at such a young age. So I think, Caitlin, you have a story of some younger students. So let's wrap around to there.
Absolutely. So majority of people are familiar with the Little League World Series and how they have them for baseball and softball. And so this was actually a softball team. It was around middle school age, and they were playing, and one of their opponents had won and they had won, so they had to meet up. Before the game, this team, was a whole entire team of girls, put on their Snapchat them with their middle fingers up, and they tagged the team and they said, this is for you, we're going to beat you, whatever. And it actually got out, and they were immediately disqualified from the rest of the World Series. They had the opportunity to go and win the World Series, and they ruined it because of Snapchat. And a lot of the parents were like, this shouldn't have happened. But majority of our parents were like, it's important for our kids to be held accountable and know that this is not acceptable. And what really impacts me with this is it shows kids how much their social media actually reaches people. Because a lot of times we go to schools, and Cindy can attest to this as well, and kids will say, well, no one's really going to see this, or my profile is private, so not many people are even going to see this. It's not that big of a deal. But it is, because clearly it got to the right person who saw the Snapchat. Wasn't even a friend of one of the teammates that posted it. So it gets around, and it's important that, our kids know that, and, walking them through that. We're going to kind of talk about that in a little bit, and just giving them those, tools to really actually think about this.
So I've talked about colleges. I like that you just brought up the sports aspect of it. But I mean, even employers will look back at what students have posted all the way back to, late upper elementary school, early middle school. And if they see something that they don't like, then they're not going to hire you. Or if something resurfaces from a student's past, you could have repercussions for that. So the really big thing that I want to encourage parents to do is to have these conversations and to talk through these scenarios with your students. We've said this before, and we'll say it again. A human brain doesn't finish developing till your mid-20s. And so quite literally, students don't have all the skills to think long-term and to think big picture. How could this affect me in 6 months, in 5 years, in 20 years? So it's really important that you and your student have these open and honest conversations about what could happen and how what they post online or even text to their friends, how that could affect them long-term. So we're going to wrap up for today. Thank you so much for listening to this video or watching this video, and again for bearing with us in our home studios, I guess. I hope that everyone is staying safe and happy and healthy. If you need anything at all, please feel free to reach out. We will be happy to help you. See you next time, guys. Bye.